Yo, can you feel it? The silence breaking? The whole town embarrassed. The same ones who laughed at you? Now they're choking on regret. Oh, isn't it wild? The genius they mocked is the genius they're begging today? Nah, you don't forget that. You don't forgive that. You rise above it and listen. This ain't just a story. It's your reflection. Every word in this video is carved to hit your bones, to remind you that the world may doubt, but truth always flips the script. Yeah, they'll regret it. Yeah, they'll apologize, and yeah, you will stand untouchable. So don't you dare click away. Stay locked till the very end, because this monologue is going to tear open every scar they gave you and stitch it back with strength they can never break. And hey, much love to you, the real ones in this community. You're not just viewers, you're the reason this fire keeps burning. Drop your comments below, smash that super thanks, and let the world know you're here. Unshakable, unstoppable. Ready? Then let's dive into the madness. The town embarrassed, the genius revealed, the apologies crawling. They laughed at you because they thought you were small. But tonight, they're choking on the size of your silence. You see, people have this nasty little habit. They think the one they mock today will remain the fool tomorrow. Oh wow, the arrogance of it. They sit around their tables, trading whispers and smirks, betting their comfort on your failure like it's a sure thing. They convince themselves you are ordinary, less, beneath. But what they never considered, what they never even had the courage to imagine, is that you were building, quietly, relentlessly, patiently. And now their entire town is burning with embarrassment because the mask has been ripped off. They didn't laugh at a fool, they laughed at a genius. And every eye is wide, every throat is dry, every smug little grin has turned into an apology wrapped in shame. Yeah, they thought they could define you. They thought you'd drown in their ridicule. But you don't drown where others expect. You swim in storms. You breathe in chaos. You sharpen yourself on rejection until rejection itself fears to touch you. And when the day comes, when you rise, every single one of them must watch as their own words come back like a blade across their pride. Do you know the weight of collective humiliation? It's heavy. Oh, it's unbearable. Imagine an entire town, a whole community, a sea of people forced to admit they were wrong. Not about a detail, not about a minor miscalculation, but about you, your mind, your essence, your value. Nah, that isn't easy to swallow. That is poison. And they're choking on it right now. They whisper apologies in corners. They stutter excuses. They try to rewrite history. I always believed in you. Lies. Pathetic, trembling lies. They want to cleanse themselves of their own betrayal. But truth doesn't wash off so easily. Truth stains, and the stain is permanent. Here's the thing. You never asked for their approval. You never begged for their applause. You never lived for their validation. And yet by design, by destiny, they are forced to bend their necks to taste the bitter fruit of regret. Because genius does not need a stage. Genius creates the stage. Genius does not seek permission. Genius forces recognition. Oh wow. Can you feel it? That shifting energy, that trembling in the air, that's not respect. Not yet. That's shame turning into fear. Because once they realize what you are, once they finally see, they know deep down you'll never look at them the same way again. You'll never trust them. You'll never forget. And that, more than anything, terrifies them. You didn't just outgrow their mockery. You destroyed it. You turned their sneers into souvenirs of their own blindness. You forced them to kneel to the truth, not with violence, but with proof. Proof they can't argue with. Proof they can't deny. Proof that breaks their spirit more than any blow could. Now the whole town stands in one chorus of regret. But regret is useless. Regret doesn't erase what they did. Regret doesn't restore your dignity. They can't take back what they stole. They can only live with the knowledge that they underestimated the wrong one. And that's the most exquisite punishment of all. Because the question that gnaws at them is simple. Forgiveness is a crown, and not everyone deserves to wear it. You asked what happens when the genius refuses to forgive. The answer is sharp, brutal, final. When you decline their trembling apologies, you strip away their last shield. Oh wow, it's almost beautiful, watching the panic bloom on their faces, watching their certainty collapse. They thought an apology would save them. They thought words could erase years of ridicule. But no, words are cheap, and their debt is far too heavy to be paid in whispers. Yeah, they come crawling, heads low, voices shaking. They don't even look at you like a person anymore. They look at you like a storm, unpredictable, untouchable. And the more they beg, the more you realize they're not apologizing because they care. They're apologizing because they fear. That's the difference. That's the truth. Their fear is a delicious silence beneath the noise. Because once upon a time they held the stage. They laughed. They mocked. They branded you a failure. But now the stage is yours, and the spotlight burns them instead. They can't hide from it. The town that once sneered at you is now united in regret, and every apology they offer is nothing more than a confession of guilt. Nah, you won't give them what they crave. Forgiveness is not a blanket to cover shame. Forgiveness is not a tool to free them from consequence. You hold the key now, and you choose not to open their cage. Do you see how quickly the roles reverse? Once, you were the outsider, the target, the spectacle of their ridicule. But now, they're the spectacle. They're the ones squirming under the gaze of truth. Every glance they throw your way is a reminder of their failure. Every step they take in your presence is heavy with humiliation. Their pride is shattered glass at your feet, and you don't have to lift a finger to keep it there. Oh wow, the silence that follows your refusal is louder than any speech you could give. It's the kind of silence that echoes for years. The kind of silence that teaches more than words ever could. Because in that silence they realize they can never undo the damage. They can never rewrite the story. They can never erase the fact that their so-called fool outthought them, outworked them, outlived their mockery, and became untouchable. Their embarrassment is not temporary. It's permanent. A scar carved into the memory of the whole town. When your name is mentioned, they'll flinch. When your brilliance is praised, they'll shift uncomfortably. When others speak of your achievements, they'll remember how they laughed, how they doubted, how they tried to bury you alive under their ridicule. And worst of all, they'll know you never gave them the comfort of forgiveness. This is the price of underestimation. This is the consequence of arrogance. They thought they could laugh forever, but forever had a twist, and that twist was you. Now every step you take is a reminder. Every silence you keep is a punishment. Every success you build is a mirror held up to their shame. You don't have to chase revenge. Their regret is revenge enough. Their regret is revenge enough. But let's not stop here, because there's something far more delicious than their embarrassment. Obsession is just admiration, poisoned by envy. When regret doesn't fade, it festers, it grows claws. And suddenly the same people who once laughed at you can't stop watching you. Oh wow, isn't it fascinating? They mocked your silence, but now they dissect every word you speak. They ridiculed your ideas, but now they steal fragments, hoping to understand the mind they once dismissed. They thought you were invisible, and now you're the center of every whispered conversation. Yeah, they can't help themselves. Because genius isn't just seen. Genius infects. It spreads. It lingers. It forces itself into the consciousness of those who once denied it. And your town is no longer laughing. They're studying you like a puzzle, desperate to decode what they once rejected. But obsession has a cruel edge. It doesn't bring them closer to you, it drives them mad. They copy your movements, echo your strategies, mimic your discipline. And yet, no matter how closely they imitate, they can't replicate the spark that burns them, that destroys them. Because deep down, they know the truth. You were born to lead where they were content to follow. You were born to see what they were too blind to notice. Nah, obsession won't save them. Obsession will only expose their emptiness. They thought genius was a trick, a lucky strike, a moment that would fade. But now they see it's a rhythm you live in, a fire you carry, a standard they will never touch. Their obsession only makes the distance clearer. And here's the twist. The more they obsess, the more they apologize in silence. They won't always say it out loud, no, but you'll see it in their eyes. That quiet pleading, that desperate hunger for your approval. But approval is not a gift you hand out freely. Approval is earned, and they already lost their chance. Oh, wow, how it torments them. To know they had their moment to support you, but they traded it for mockery. To know they could have stood beside you, but chose to stand against you. Now, no matter how obsessed they become, they can't escape the stain of what they did. Their admiration is corrupted by their envy, their respect poisoned by their guilt. And you don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to shout or rage or strike. You simply exist, and your existence becomes the cage they can't escape. You don't haunt them with words, you haunt them with proof. Proof they wasted their chance. Proof they underestimated the wrong one. Proof that their apologies came too late. Their obsession will not crown them, it will crush them. It will eat away at their nights, gnaw at their confidence, shred their sense of self, until nothing remains but the memory of their failure. They'll replay it endlessly. How they underestimated you, how they mocked what they didn't understand, how they bowed too late. And in the end, obsession leaves them with one final, unbearable realization. They can never undo the moment they laughed at a genius. Desperation makes people crawl lower than they ever thought they could. When obsession burns too long, it mutates. It corrodes pride, devours dignity, and twists the spine until even the proudest stand bent. That's what you're seeing now. A whole town, once drunk on arrogance, now staggering in desperation. Oh wow, it's almost laughable. The same mouths that once spat insults now trip over themselves just to say your name with trembling respect. Yeah, they offer favors. They bring gifts. They smile too wide too often, as if false kindness could erase the venom of their past. They think desperation can buy redemption. But desperation doesn't buy, it begs. And begging is the purest form of humiliation. Watch them carefully. Every move is desperate theater. They exaggerate their loyalty, exaggerate their praise, hoping you'll forget. But desperation reeks. It cannot be hidden. It stains their words, their actions, their very presence. You can smell it before they even open their mouths. They don't respect you. They fear the weight of living without your forgiveness. And so they perform, like actors who know the audience has already seen through the script. Nah, this isn't power. This isn't strength. This is weakness wrapped in apology. Desperation strips them bare. It reveals the hollowness behind their arrogance. Once they thought you were beneath them. Now they're clawing to stand near you, to catch even the crumbs of your acknowledgement. And here's the cruel truth. Desperation never earns what it chases. It only exposes what it lacks. They cannot force you to forget their betrayal. They cannot bribe you into rewriting the past. Their scramble for redemption only deepens their shame. Because every act of desperation is an unspoken confession. We failed. We were wrong. We mocked a genius and now we're trapped by that mistake. Oh wow. You don't even need to reject them loudly. A quiet glance, a cold silence, a refusal to play their game, that's enough to crush them. Because desperation cannot survive in silence. It feeds on attention. And when you deny them that, their frantic attempts collapse into emptiness. Their desperation twists into rivalry. Some try to outshine you, hoping that if they can surpass you, their shame will fade. But their attempts are hollow shadows. Their fire was born in envy, not discipline. And envy burns out fast. One by one, their efforts crumble. One by one, they realize the truth. They can't erase what you've already proven. They can't outgrow the genius they once tried to bury. Yeah, desperation is a mirror. They can't escape. It reflects back every insult they once threw at you, every moment they underestimated you, every scar they left on your path. Now they carry those scars themselves, branding them with regret that can never be scrubbed clean. And you don't chase revenge. You don't need to, because their desperation is the punishment. Their own minds are the prison. And every day they wake up, they're forced to live inside the consequences of underestimating the wrong person. But desperation has one more transformation. When the crawling, begging, and pleading fail, something darker begins to rise. Resentment is just weakness pretending to be strength. And so it begins, the final mutation. When desperation fails to win your forgiveness, when begging produces only silence, the town turns sour. Their voices harden, their smiles crack. Resentment slithers in, poisoning what little dignity they had left. Oh wow, it's almost predictable. The same mouths that once mocked you, then begged you, now spit bitterness again. Only this time it doesn't sound like laughter. It sounds like trembling rage. Yeah, they resent you because you didn't bend, because you didn't break. because you didn't hand them the comfort they thought they deserved. They resent you because your very existence is a mirror they cannot escape. Every success you achieve, every truth you embody, every step you take, it reminds them of their failure. And resentment grows where truth is too heavy to carry. But resentment isn't dangerous to you. No, it's dangerous to them. Because resentment devours the one who holds it. It eats at the mind, rots the heart, and twists judgment until even the simplest choices are poisoned. They whisper among themselves, hoping to find solidarity in their bitterness. But resentment does not unite, it divides. It pits neighbor against neighbor, ally against ally, each one consumed by their own shame disguised as anger. Nah, they can't touch you with their resentment. They can't stain you with their bitterness, because resentment is powerless when faced with undeniable proof. And you are the proof. Proof that genius cannot be silenced, cannot be mocked into extinction, cannot be erased by the shallow voices of a crowd. And so, their resentment circles back onto them. They turn against each other, blaming, accusing, tearing apart their own ranks. The same town that once stood united in their mockery now fractures under the weight of their regret. They can't bear to face you, so they destroy themselves instead. Oh wow, isn't it poetic? The ridicule that once united them now becomes the fire that consumes them. They resent you for rising, but more than that, they resent themselves for doubting. They resent the memory of their own blindness, and memory is a prison no one escapes. You don't have to lift a hand. You don't have to strike. You don't even have to speak. Your silence alone becomes unbearable, because silence means you don't acknowledge their bitterness. Silence means you've already moved beyond them. Silence means they are trapped in yesterday while you walk into tomorrow. And the deeper their resentment grows, the more powerless they feel. They wanted control, they wanted dominance. But all they have left is bitterness gnawing at their insides, consuming them slowly, publicly, painfully. Yeah, resentment is their final chain, a chain they forged themselves, and every time they try to pull against it, it tightens around their pride. That's the punishment they can't escape, the realization that no matter how much they resent you, they can never unsee the truth of what you are. And so the town suffers, not by your hand, but by their own. Their resentment doesn't wound you, it wounds them. And that's the final irony. The genius they once mocked is untouchable, while the crowd that once mocked him is destroyed by its own shame. But here's the question that lingers, heavy and sharp. And there it is. The story flipped. The same crowd that mocked you, now bowing in shame. Oh wow, can you taste the irony? Yeah, the whole town embarrassed, their apologies crawling across the floor like shattered pride. But hear me clear, this isn't just my monologue. This is your reality. Every word I spit here is fuel for the ones who refuse to stay small, the ones who carry scars but wear them as armor. Nah, not everyone gets it, but you do. So drop your comments below. Let me hear your roar, your story, your fire. Smash that super thanks if this hit you in the chest. And remember, you're not just viewers, you're legends in the making. Tribute to you, the ones watching till the very end. You are the rare ones who see through the noise, who rise when others laugh, who turn humiliation into fuel. You're the reason this voice keeps echoing. And trust me, this is only the beginning. The whole town may be embarrassed today, but tomorrow tomorrow they'll fear the genius they can never bury. Yo, look at their faces, huh? They saw the glow, the smooth skin, the youthful spark, and they thought it meant weakness. They thought it meant easy target. Oh wow, mistake of the century. You look younger. Yeah, but your mind's been through storms, scars, and battles they could never even imagine. They judged the cover and ignored the fire inside the pages. Nah, that's where they lost everything. So tell me, when the mask of youth fools them and the blade of patience cuts deeper than their arrogance, who's really laughing now? They didn't underestimate you because you were weak. They underestimated you because you looked younger than the wars you've already survived. That's the trick, isn't it? The face fools them. The skin plays a game. Your age sits in silence, hidden behind a reflection that whispers freshness, while your mind, oh, your mind is carved with scars no mirror could ever capture. And they thought they could mess with you. Yeah. They saw the glow, the youth on your face, and they made the biggest mistake of their lives. They assumed that appearance equals inexperience, that smoothness equals softness, that looking young meant you were easy prey. Oh wow, how wrong they were. Because behind that youthful mask lives a storm. Behind that smile lives a history. Behind those eyes lives a patience, sharpened by trials they could never even imagine. They thought you were harmless, like a candle that could be blown out with one breath. But they forgot. Candles have started fires that burned down empires. And here's the brutal truth. People love to confuse appearance with capacity. They think age is what grants you wisdom, and looks are what deny it. Nah, wisdom doesn't wait for wrinkles. Strength doesn't need a calendar. Some people are forged fast, pressed by pressure so relentless that they grow decades in a single year. And you're one of them. They mistook your face for your fate. They mistook your youth for your weakness. But weakness has never lived here. What lives here is restraint. What lives here is observation. What lives here is that quiet silence of someone who knows exactly when to strike. And when you finally moved, oh, it terrified them. Because your silence wasn't inexperience, it was calculation. Your restraint wasn't fear, it was strategy. And your youth, that wasn't a handicap, that was camouflage. You wore it like armor. Let them mock, let them whisper, let them smirk. Every joke they cracked about your age was nothing more than free fuel. Every insult was a spark, and you didn't waste time correcting them. You let them believe, you let them laugh, you let them build castles of arrogance in their minds, because you already knew what happens when arrogance meets reality. And then when the moment came, when the mask had to drop, when the truth had to bleed out, you didn't just prove them wrong, you shattered their entire picture of you. You crushed their little narrative with one move, one act, one undeniable reminder that you are not defined by appearance, by numbers, or by the shallow judgments of cowards. You see, they live in illusions. They stare at a face and think they've read the whole story. But a book isn't judged by its cover, it's judged by the battles inside the pages. And your pages? They're written in endurance. They're marked by struggle. They're soaked in lessons that don't fade. And when they realized this, their smirks died in their throats. Their confidence melted. Their little games collapsed. Because what they underestimated wasn't just you, It was the weight of everything you've carried. And nothing is heavier than someone who has carried silence, scars, and patience all at once. They thought your youth was a weakness. It was a weapon. And that weapon is only just beginning to show its edge. Because if they were shaken by what you've already done, tell me, what will they do when you stop holding back? When you stop holding back, the world doesn't just notice, it trembles. Because the restraint you've shown so far, that was mercy. That was you moving at half speed, letting them believe they were ahead, letting them think their words had weight. You gave them the luxury of comfort. But comfort makes people blind. Comfort makes people sloppy. Comfort makes them forget that silence doesn't mean surrender. And now, that silence is cracking. They thought the version of you they've seen so far was the final form. They thought you'd already revealed your sharpest edges. But the truth is terrifying. You've barely even warmed up. Yeah. All those times you bit your tongue, all those times you stayed still, all those times you let the insult pass, those weren't moments of defeat. Those were the moments you were sharpening the blade behind your back. Oh wow. Imagine their faces when that blade finally flashes in daylight. You see, power isn't about showing everything you have at once. Power is about patience. About letting them underestimate you, about watching their confidence swell, just so you can pierce it in one clean strike. They thought you were young, so they assumed they had time. Nah, what they didn't realize is that your youth wasn't delay, it was disguise. A mask that let you move through the battlefield unseen until the moment you chose to reveal the truth. And when that truth explodes, it's not just about proving them wrong. It's about collapsing their entire worldview. Because once someone realizes they've misjudged you, they're not just wrong about you, they're wrong about everything. If the weak one wasn't weak, then where does that leave them? That's the nightmare you've built for them. Not through lies, not through illusion, but by being sharper, faster, and stronger than they dared to admit. Every second they thought you were beneath them, you were quietly preparing to step over them. And now the step is coming. Listen closely. The same people who dismissed you yesterday will soon be the ones whispering your name tomorrow. The same ones who laughed at you will rewrite history as if they always respected you. That's the hypocrisy of the crowd. They mock when they think it's safe. Then they praise when they realize it's dangerous to ignore you. And you won't even need to answer them. Your existence will answer for you. But don't mistake this for revenge. Revenge is small. What you're carrying is bigger than that. It's about legacy. About reminding them that looking young is not the same as being naive. It's about proving that experience doesn't always show on the surface. It lives inside, hidden in silence, waiting for the perfect hour to erupt. And when it erupts, the noise is deafening. The same silence they mocked will become the silence they fear. Because silence, once it moves, becomes thunder. And thunder, once it cracks, never asks permission. Oh, they'll try to adjust. They'll scramble. They'll make excuses for why they didn't see it coming. But excuses won't save them. Explanations won't soften the blow. Because once you stop holding back, once you unleash the truth of what you are, the game changes forever. And here's the most frightening part for them. This was always inevitable. Every insult they threw at you, every doubt they planted, every smirk they flashed, it was all fuel. They thought they were breaking you down, but all they were doing was building your fire higher. They didn't weaken you. They trained you. They didn't stop you. They sharpened you. And now, with everything you've endured, everything you've swallowed, everything you've carried quietly inside, the question is no longer about what they will do to you. That question has burned away. The question now is something much darker, much heavier, much more dangerous. What will you do to them? The answer is simple. You'll do what they never expected. You'll stand taller than their tallest doubt. They thought the fight was about proving yourself to them. No. The fight was always about proving something to yourself. And now, after everything, you finally see it. They were never the real enemy. The real enemy was the illusion they built around you. The illusion that you were too young, too soft, too untested to matter. That illusion has been choking you like smoke for years. And now you're tearing through it, piece by piece, until nothing remains but clarity. You won't waste your energy chasing revenge. Revenge is short-lived. It fades too quickly, like fire burning out in the wind. What you're after is something colder, sharper, and far more permanent: respect. Not the respect they hand out when they feel generous, but the respect they're forced to give when there's no other choice. The kind that comes when even your enemies know they can't touch you anymore. Yeah, that's the moment you're walking toward. And the best part? You don't even have to scream for it. You don't have to beg for it. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Your existence, your endurance, your refusal to collapse under their weight, that will speak louder than any words. Oh wow. Imagine the silence in the room when they finally realize it. The same mouths that mocked you will fall shut. The same eyes that rolled will stare wide. The same hands that pointed at you will freeze in hesitation, no longer sure if they're dealing with the same person, because they aren't. You've grown beyond the skin they judged. You've turned the wound into steel. Nah, you're not here to play their games anymore. You're here to break the board in half. You're here to show that youth is not weakness, and restraint is not fragility. You're here to prove that being underestimated is not a curse, it's a weapon. Because every second they misjudged you, you were building strength in silence. Every laugh they threw your way was another weight added to your training, and every attempt to belittle you only made your rise more inevitable. And when you finally rise, you don't rise as the same person they mocked. You rise as the storm they never prepared for. You rise as the answer to every insult, every smirk, every dismissal. You rise in a way that leaves them gasping, because deep down they know the truth. They created the very force they now fear. But here's the twist. They won't admit it. They'll never say it out loud. They'll pretend they always knew you had potential, that they always saw something in you. That's the lie they'll tell themselves to protect their pride. But you'll know. You'll remember every word, every gesture, every shadow of doubt they cast, and instead of holding it like poison, you'll hold it like fuel. Because fuel doesn't weaken fire, it feeds it. So what will you do to them? You won't destroy them with anger. You'll destroy them with proof. Proof that you didn't need their validation. Proof that you didn't need their permission. Proof that you didn't need to grow into your strength, because it was always there, waiting for the right moment to erupt. And once that proof is undeniable, once the truth stands taller than their arrogance, you won't even need to fight them anymore. They'll fight themselves. They'll drown in their own realization, struggling to reconcile the fact that the one they mocked is now the one they can't compete with. And when they're left in that silence, staring at the reality they tried to bury, the only question that will haunt them is this: how do you fight someone who turned your mockery into their weapon? You can't fight them. You can only watch as the weapon you forged against them becomes the very blade pressed to your own throat. That's the truth they choke on now. Because every insult, every smirk, every little attempt to box you in, they thought it was clever, they thought it was control. But what they didn't realize is that they were training you, sharpening you, strengthening you. Every time they underestimated you, they gave you another tool. Every time they mocked you, they handed you another reason to rise. And now those reasons have become your arsenal. Now those tools have become your fortress. Now those wounds they tried to inflict have become your armor. Yeah, it's poetic, isn't it? The same people who doubted you are the reason you're untouchable today. The same voices that laughed are the echoes that push you forward. They can't fight you anymore, because fighting you would mean fighting the consequences of their own arrogance. Oh wow. Imagine their horror when they realize this. They stare at you, trying to recognize the naive one they thought they knew. But that person is gone. What stands before them now is a product of their own making, only stronger, sharper, colder than they ever intended. And it terrifies them. Because here's the thing, when someone creates their own destroyer, they can't undo it. They can't rewind the clock. They can't erase the years they fed you with disrespect. Those years built your patience. That patience built your strength. And that strength now towers over them, unshakable, undeniable. Nah, you're not here to beg for their acceptance. You're not here to argue about their past judgments. You're here to make sure they remember one lesson. Underestimating you was the most expensive mistake of their lives. And it doesn't even take violence. It doesn't take shouting. It doesn't take rage. It only takes your presence. Because presence is power. When you walk into the room, the silence shifts. When you speak, the noise dies. When you act, the air grows heavy. That's what true power is, making people adjust themselves just because you exist. And the irony, they thought your youth was a disadvantage, but it wasn't. It was the secret that let you outlast them. While they wasted energy mocking, you were conserving yours. While they clung to illusions, you studied reality. While they burned themselves out, you were quietly building momentum. So now the tables have turned. They're exhausted, running out of excuses, while you're only getting started. And the more they realize this, the more desperate they become. They try to shift the narrative, twist the story, rewrite history in their favor. But it's too late. The truth is visible now, carved into every action you take. And here's the brutal part. You don't even need to lift a finger against them. Life itself exposes them. Every room you enter is proof. Every victory you claim is evidence. Every step you take forward is a reminder that their version of you was nothing but fiction. So how do you fight someone who turned your mockery into their weapon? You don't. You surrender to the reality that you armed them, and now you can't disarm them. That's the trap they walked into, and that's the trap they'll never escape. But let's not stop there, because this isn't just about them. This is about you, what you do now with this weapon in your hands. Because having strength is one thing. Knowing how to use it That's the real test. And here's the question pressing against the silence, heavier than everything that came before it. Now that you hold this weapon, forged from years of underestimation and doubt, will you use it to simply survive, or will you use it to lead? Survival is for those who still beg for permission. Leadership is for those who've already taken it. That's the line you're standing on now. On one side, just survival, quiet victories, unnoticed strength, small steps that keep you breathing but never shake the ground. On the other side, something far louder, leadership, presence, influence, so sharp it cuts through the lies that once suffocated you. And the choice? It's burning in your hands. If you survive, you stay in their shadow. You prove them wrong, but only for yourself. They'll whisper, they'll still doubt. They'll still spin their little narratives. And maybe you'll smile, satisfied that you outlasted them. But that's small. That's limited. That's the safe road. But if you lead, everything changes. Because leadership doesn't mean you rise alone. Leadership means your rise drags others upward with you. And that's the part they fear most. They weren't just afraid of you proving them wrong. They were terrified of you inspiring others to do the same. Yeah, that's the nightmare they never wanted to face. One person who refuses to break is dangerous, but one person who shows the rest how not to break, that's unstoppable. Oh wow, picture their panic when they see it happening. The same voice they tried to silence becoming the voice that ignites countless others. The same presence they mocked becoming the standard everyone else now follows. That's leadership. Not waiting for respect, but demanding it through action so undeniable it cannot be ignored. Nah. They didn't just underestimate your face, your age, your silence. They underestimated the ripple. They underestimated the echo. They underestimated the fact that once you stood tall, others would remember they could too. And now, whether they admit it or not, you've become the very thing they swore you'd never be, proof. Proof that looking young doesn't mean being weak. Proof that silence doesn't mean ignorance. Proof that restraint doesn't mean lack of strength. Proof that one underestimated soul can break the chains for many. But remember, leadership isn't about arrogance. It isn't about shouting louder than the rest. It's about moving so clearly, so consistently that no one can deny the path you're walking. It's about showing discipline when others crumble. It's about carrying scars like banners, not wounds. And every time you do, you leave a mark deeper than their doubts. So survival or leadership? The world is watching. And the answer is already written in your silence. You didn't endure all those years. You didn't swallow all those insults. You didn't carry all that weight just to survive. You were built to lead. You were built to walk ahead so others could see it's possible. And leadership doesn't need permission. Leadership doesn't wait for applause. Leadership is born when someone finally decides enough is enough. And that's you, right now, at this very moment. So let them keep whispering. Let them rewrite their stories. Let them choke on their excuses. Because when the dust settles, when the silence falls, only one truth will remain standing. You didn't just survive their underestimation. You turned it into your crown. And now, look at them. The same ones who laughed, who mocked, who thought your youth was weakness. They're the ones trembling now. Oh wow, isn't it poetic? They tried to break you, but every attempt only made you sharper. Yeah, they thought they were playing a game, but you flipped the board upside down. So remember this. Your age doesn't define you. Your face doesn't define you. Your fire does. Nah, you weren't the fool in this story. They were. And the best part? You don't even need revenge. Your rise is the revenge.